Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and apparently Franchise Hockey Manager has stopped working. Hello everybody, Average Gamer here. Today I wanted to try and do something new. So everyone knows I love my strategy games and I love my hockey as well. And I thought, well, let's tie those two in together. Let's play some Franchise Hockey Manager 3. So Franchise Hockey Manager 3 is basically where you become the manager of a hockey team. You start at the age of 19 and work your way up through all the different leagues and upgrade your skills and all that stuff, kind of role play esque, and become basically a super kick-ass amazing hockey manager, and slowly work your way through and kind of cut your teeth, so to speak, in all these different hockey stuff. So I thought, why not? Let's try it. Let's see how many people like it. Let's see how many people want to do this. So we're gonna call this Let's Play. We're going to obviously start it in 2016. We're going to get this going here. So basically what it is you manage your team, and your manager gives you basically a contract for X amount of years and all that stuff, and a goal for those years as well, which I really like. I like doing the research and all that stuff. So here's all the leagues theoretically we can play in. There's a lot of leagues. And I'm turning everything on. So at the beginning, we can get contracts from some sort of league in England, France, Finland, Sweden, Norway, the Czech Republic, Russia, you name it. We can get contracts from just about anywhere. We're only going to be a manager though, and we're going to start unemployed. We're going to call ourselves Average. Wow. Keyboard's a little squishy, and we're Canadian, obviously. Nickname's gonna be a G. There we go. We're born on the 28th of June, 1998. This is random. It'll start us at the age of 19, and we're gonna go. Right now, we're only gonna get news from the NHL, but that will change momentarily, depending on what league we decide to obviously accept a contract with. Here overall is our first ratings. So one thing that everyone knows about when a general manager becomes the manager of a hockey team, 9 times out of 10, they fire the coach and put their own coach in place. The way this is simulated in Franchise Hockey Manager 3 is your ability to influence your coach in all these options. One of the things I like to do at the beginning is mostly work on training and prospects and things like that to show that you're doing really good. But also with obviously us, we want a high negotiation ability. We want to get, the higher the skill, basically the less people are willing to trade for us. Now, also, the way this is worded is your ability to convenience players to sign for less money and to get other general managers to agree to give you less in a trade. Basically, get more bang for your buck for trades and contracts. Discipline, your ability to maintain order and discipline on your team. Self-preservation, your ability to convince your owner to be patient with you in circumstances that might jeopardize your job security. A higher score will keep you working a little longer before you get into trouble. Player management, the ability to keep your players happy and cooperating with each other, particularly in difficult circumstances, affects change to player morale. So we want at least all of these up by 1, just for now. There obviously is probably a meta for this, but I'm not too worried. Over time, it's going to go up. Every year, you get new points depending on how well you did. Across the board here, so right now, by default, we're really good on tactics with our coach. So the ability to successfully get the most out of the tactics of your team and out coach your opposition. This will influence your effectiveness with the tactics you choose. I automatically max this out right away. Max is 16. In-game tactics, the ability to adjust your gameplay while the game is underway. I usually put this up to 10 right away. Player motivation. Now, player motivation is the ability to get your players informed and maximize their potential, excluding, pressures and situations that may cause them unhappy. I usually get that to about a 10 as well, because we're going to be, our first few years is just going to be basically learning the ropes and basically grinding out experience. The rest, I usually just up by 1. Offensive training, I'm not too worried about offensive training just yet. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll knock tactics down 1 and just do that up 1. No big deal. And then we'll slowly slowly work on upgrading all our skills. Google AdWords, sending me a thing. No big deal there. So yeah, we're going to try this and see how you guys like it. So there's no actual playing of hockey. It's all about numbers and stats and skills and the rules within the leagues. The rules within the leagues themselves sometimes are harder actually than the game itself. A lot of leagues have really crazy rules, like you're only allowed to have X or Y amount of international players. Like you only have X international players. An international player is a player who has a nationality other than the country that the league is in. Also, here's the other one too. Also, the nationality of a player is their primary nationality, not their secondary nationality. Meaning that someone can be both American and Canadian, but if they say their number one nationality is Canadian, you cannot hire them on your team as a player as American, for example, because they're say Canadian and Canadian is international because you're in the States, for example. The game is still, I believe, a work in progress. So I like it so far. I've played 1 or 2 seasons. It can be a little grindy when it comes to stuff. Like you do a lot of simulating and stuff like that, and number crunching and evaluating your team as you play. And some leagues allow you to make trades. Other leagues don't. I usually like to play European leagues at the beginning. Help build up my stats and work on stuff and figure teams out. Go to different leagues, get some experience in a bunch of different leagues, and constantly just pick different teams. Most teams that you get at the beginning, I've noticed, are all pretty much make the playoffs. So we'll see. Well, I'd even try to some CHL teams. Like pick a CHL team and just move around the CHL, the Canadian Hockey League. The Canadian Hockey League is broken up into 3 leagues. The QMJHL, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, which is pretty much Quebec and everything east, the Maritimes. The Ontario Hockey League, which is made up of, I think it's about 20 teams, and the OHL. And then we have the WHL, which is teams from Manitoba West, because teams like Brandon are in it, whereas teams made up of the Western provinces. So right now, we're not with the Canadians, for the record. We're basically just unemployed. It just defaults to the Montreal Canadiens automatically. So right now we have 3 offers. This just tells us right here who the highest ranked person is. Right now it's Nolan Patrick. He plays for the Brandon Wheat Kings in the Western Hockey League. You can go to a full list here. This is all the top players right now. Watch this. Here's their midterm ranking. Here's their final ranking. Here's their future ranking. We're not too worried about that because we're not we're not in the NHL. But here are our 3 offers. So the Sparta Warriors have offered us a contract. They look like they're in Norway from the looks of it. So I want to look at the contracts and the way the rules of this one is. So Norway, get league, because it actually says get, right? I want to look up the rules of the league. Are we allowed to do unconditional waivers? No. Are we allowed to buy out players? Yes, we can. The maximum age of a player is 99 years. Is there a minor option? Is there a minor? Nope. Are we allowed to do offer sheets? Nope. Are there free agents? No. No free agents. Are there restricted free agents? No. What's the entry level? Is there an entry level contract? No. Interesting already. Entry level max? No. Minimum age and maximum age? Minimum age is 16. Maximum age? No maximum middle age. Those are contract rules. League rules. 45 games, no salary cap, no salary floor. Playoff starts March 3rd. There is no All-Star game. There is no trading. There's no trading deadline, obviously. There's no league rights. That's like when you have leagues above you and below you can get regulated, and there's no regulation, obviously. 0 regulation teams, and there's no playdowns, which makes sense. Overall roster rules. You can have a maximum of 20 players dressed, 23 players on your active roster, maximum of 50 players contracted. You can protect a maximum of 50 players. You have to have a minimum of 18 minimum skaters, 2 eligible goalies, 0 days for the waiver wire. It means that you put a player on waivers, they're on waivers. You have to put someone on the injured reserve, so if they get hurt and they can't play, you put them on there for a minimum of 5 days. After 5 days, you can bring them back. You're allowed maximum of 7 foreign players, which is always important, and minimum prospects needed, meaning that players that are brand spanking new, like basically 16-year-olds. You don't have a restriction as to how many of those you can have. League info, overall, it's in Norway. There's 10 teams. The average attendance is 1,400. The average budget is $500,000. But we don't have to worry about the playable, and there's no draft at all. Overall point systems. So the game rules themselves. So 3 points for a win, 2 points for an overtime win, 2 points for a win in penalties. I'm assuming that's the shootout. Overtime loss, 1 point. If you lose in the shootout, yeah, see penalties and then shootout. If you lose in a shootout, you only get 1 point. If it's a tie, ties. Wow. Tie is 1 point. 20-minute periods. Overtime, it's 4v4. Overtime is 5 minutes. Penalty shots, it's only 3 shots, so 3 shots only. There is sudden death, and there is no overtime draws. So it goes basically 3 periods. If it's still tied, it goes into overtime. If overtime ends, it goes into a shootout. After 3 shots, winner goes on. If no one scores in those 3 shots on either team, then it's a tie, and boom, you get 1 point. So that 3-point win is going to be a big deal. Overall playoff rules, 20-minute periods, 20-minute overtime, 5-on-5 for overtime, and it's sudden death, so it's constant overtime, like it is in the NHL. I'm kind of interested in Get. Who else here? We have the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. I'm going to say no to that because I do not want to get involved in the Quebec Major Junior League yet. The Pinal Dolphins. They're in the LM, which I'm assuming is France. France. The Saxoprint League Magnus. It looks like. Yep. The team we're looking for is right there. So they're third last. If I can do history. Milestones for outstandings. History. Yeah, those are the teams. Fortunately, it doesn't tell us what the manager wants. I kind of wish it did. Because that would tell me right there if it's a good situation or not. Overall, this league is basically one step kind of above. It's an average of 600 million or 600,000. No drafts, no affiliates, 12 teams. So there's 2 extra teams. Point system is pretty much the same except for ties are 2 points. This is no overtime draws. Maximum 10. See, this I like. 10 foreign players is pretty good. No regulation. But regulation team is 1. No salary cap. Trade. So there is a trading deadline, but there is no trading. That doesn't make sense, but okay. Regulation. I'm kind of contemplating this team here, maybe? So we said no to you. So it's either you or you. Let's look around here to see how good these guys are. These guys are all pretty bad. If I look at this guy who... Actually, it should tell us who our star player is. Roster. Yeah, everyone's really old. Look at them. couple 20-year-olds, which is good. Got defense, 3 wingers, a whole bunch of right wingers. Let's look at this guy's stats. Mental note. What was the goalie? I picked the goalie? There we go. Last year, this guy got 1 assist. 1 assist. 1 point. 8 points. 14 the year before. 9 points and a lot of penalty minutes. 11, 13, 6. Another goalie played last year from the looks of it. 19, 26, 6, 10, 22, 30, 17. This Bouchard guy, Danick Bouchard, looks like he's possibly our highest goal scorer at 16 goals. I would prefer someone who scored at least 20. I'm thinking they're going to probably ask me to try to make the playoffs. We're not even going to make it close. You know, look at this. This guy has 410 points. Now, mind you, last year we've made the playoffs 4 years in a row, though. You can tell there's not many games played in this. Wait, there's 44 games. But we can look at. I'm assuming it's this year than this year, combined type thing. So play 2 extra games probably because of the playoffs there. So I mean they are on a bit of an upswing. So I can probably sign a couple guys, but they have, what are the rules again? 10 international players max. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They already have 10 international players. And I can't buy guys out. So my first season would probably be to kind of fill these guys out, sign the guys that I like, or re-sign the guys that I like, and then let the other guys go. For the Sparta Warriors, it's what, 10 players international as well. That's good. This is in Norway, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we have the ability to sign at least 2 more international players. International players are definitely worth a lot more. And at least on this league here, we've got a couple players that are going to be getting better, hopefully, over the next couple years. One of them is our goalie, which is good. This guy should be getting better. This guy should be getting better. This guy really would be getting better. So both our goalies are going to be really strong in the next year or 2. So I think I'm going to go with Sparta, the Spartan Warriors, as our contract. Yep. We are going to reject the Dolphins offer, and we're going to negotiate with Sparta. I'm going to go with a full 4-year contract with them. Unfortunately, the money they give you doesn't matter. It's just the years. But yeah, so we've signed that contract. We're going to delete that email. And here we go. Welcome to the Spartansburg Warriors organization. As the new general manager, you currently have a 4-year contract worth $19,500 a year. The Warriors are owned by Christopher Holm. In this season, the Get Later Warrior objective is straightforward. Playoff race. To meet your goals, you have a 1.09, basically a $1 million budget. A total of $700,000 is currently allotted to the team payroll. So basically, we got a $300,000 amount available. Left winger Nicholas Rost is the organization's best player, while Jonas Christian Lindgren is our most highly touted prospect. The GET transfer deadline is January 31st, 2017. Has no salary cap and no salary floor, meaning that we don't have to worry too much about a cap or a floor. So we don't have to worry about how much money we're going to spend, as long as we are within our own thing here. Now, all of a sudden, notice how this information all gets updated, eh? Because every league has its own stats. Overall, the league information we were looking at was for the NHL stats, the NHL level stats. So, okay. So, first thing I want to do, make sure our lines are cleared up. Good. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a cut in here, and we will continue on in the next episode. See you guys then. Bye-bye.